Joining me in the studio is Mistress Tokyo. Mistress Tokyo is a sex worker, a dominatrix, and a kink educator who has developed her own mindfulness consent model. The model is all about teaching young people how to consensually explore sex while feeling sexy and safe if they're wanting to try something new, or maybe they just want to prioritize their own pleasure. Now, Mistress Tokyo, on this podcast, we have a voice memo sent in from a listener or a member and friend of the Talking Frank community with a little question or concern or issue that they want to bring up. Do you mind having a listen and offering some of your expertise?
Let's go for it.
Here we go.
I find myself getting very embarrassed when I talk about sex and pleasure with my partners, even though I deserve to feel good in those situations.
I think that talking about sex and pleasure with your partner is the baseline.
I agree with you. I think that talking about intimacy, talking about rights and privileges around contact, physical contact, sexual contact, setting boundaries, and then also negotiating what you like. What you don't like, also very importantly, what they don't like.
Yeah, I always find it very bizarre when I initiate communication during a sexual encounter and the other person's either put off by it or is too shy to talk, but maybe I'm just over-communicating.
I think that it's important to find a partner or partners where you can have good communication together. And if your partner or your lover doesn't have a communication style which is similar to yours, it's not a failing. The want to communicate is the want to bond. And talking about sex, it's the want to share pleasure together. Acknowledge that the communication between the two of you is part of the job of having a relationship, and that you come together and you work at it together like it's a job, like it's something that you're both opting into. I've had communication with lovers where they've poo-pooed me, shushed me when I'm talking about consent. Those people don't come back.
And do you think that people have a big, when this idea of talking and communication comes up around sex, they always think it's verbal? Do you think that people are just maybe a little bit too afraid to even broach it because they think they're going to have to sit down and talk, where it could be body language or it could be other forms of communication?
We need to destigmatise communicating well, and we need to take it away from it being a personal incursion onto the character of the person who is doing the talking or initiating the talking. But I feel that we're moving in this way in general in society. We're talking more about sex. Heck, I'm sitting here in latex, like $1,000 worth of latex and spike heels that I walk around in session, talking about sex with you. Oh my gosh, this is a great day. But we've had to get here and there's still more work to do.
Absolutely. Should we keep listening?
Totally.
Sadly, for a lot of years, I just didn't talk about it. And when I had experienced that pain that I spoke of before, I would ignore it. I would go, well, this is just a part of the experience, because I didn't know that that people who had vaginas could experience that pleasure. I didn't see it anywhere, and I wasn't really taught about orgasms or anything like that in AFAB people or people with vaginas. I wasn't taught about that. So I think there's a massive stigma on female pleasure. It's men feel as if they need to succeed, and I know this is a lot of generalizations, but men feel like they need to succeed in the bedroom especially, and we want to please the people we're with. And so there's a lot of people pleasing behavior and a lot of ignorance as well. But it's something we can work on with our partners. It's something we can grow on, and it's something we can just talk about, be free, be open. Saying, I need you to do this doesn't mean that you were failing before. It just means that, hey, this can be better for me. Would you like to try it?
I think the idea around female pleasure or even male pleasure, because when you learn sex in school, it's all about procreation and never about pleasure. And she said in there that she never realised that it could be pleasurable.
Indeed.
It's so scary.
We're not taught to have pride in how we love other people physically. We're not taught to. One of the things that I adore about being a sex worker is that I get to really step into a space where I can have finessed hard and soft skills around the absolute joy of being embodied during sexual activities. There's a lot of things in what she just said, and I think I really liked was this can be better for me. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it's bad. And I think that could be a way of approaching your partner, to step off into that great unknown of, I could be judged. Do I really know what I want? Mm-hmm. Do I have rights to ask for what I want? Because that's one thing that I think that we're really taught to confound, is that we're not supposed to ask for what we want. And that's a phrase that's said by the great consent teacher, Dr. Betty Martin from the School of Consent. So I would encourage people to drop into your body and see what your body says about that phrase for them. Mm. Hey, this could be better for me if you do X, because my pleasure is valuable, it is valid, and we are supposed to be coming together to create a mutual experience of physical love, physical pleasure. Gosh, I sound like some sort of self-help person. But I'm wearing rubber and spikes, people, just so you have that visual.
I completely agree, but are you willing to now share your expertise in pleasure with me? Should we get into the chat?
Let's do it.
Great.